Okay, so this is our PowerPoint for our TRG 1164 leadership class. The presentation is due November 11th. We are doing the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Why study the 7 habits? Our character is a composite of our habits. Objective reality is composed of principles that govern human growth and happiness. These principles are based on natural law that has been presented through all time. Stephen Covey believes that if we live by these principles, the world would be a better place. What is the habits? The habits is the interaction of knowledge, skill, and desire. Knowledge, skill, and desire. Knowledge, what do you do and why? Skill, how do you do it? Desire, wanting it to act. You must be willing to subordinate what you think you want for what you want later. This process produces happiness. These 7 habits move through a maturity continuum. Dependence, independence, and interdependence. Dependence, infants, directed, natured, situated by others. Independence, ability to sustain yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, and physically. Interdependence, become increasingly aware that the higher reaches of our nature has to do with relationship. Habits of effectiveness, based on principles, bring maximum long-term beneficial results, become the basis of a person's character, effectively solve problems, maximize opportunity. One learns to integrates other principles in an upward spiral of growth. 7 habits of highly effective people. Number 1, be proactive. Number 2, begin with the end in mind. Number 3, put things first. Number 4, think win-win. Number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Number 6, synergize. Number 7, sharpen the saw. Habit 1, be proactive. Try to project your consciousness upward into a corner of the room and see yourself almost as though you were someone else. Now try to think about the mood you are in. Can you identify it? What are you feeling? How can you describe your present mental state? The ability for a human to do this is called self-awareness. The ability is also why we can make and break our habits. To examine ourselves in this way is how we see ourselves. 3 common paradigms to explain human behavior. Genetic determinism, blaming your grandparents for your genetic determinism, blaming your grandparents for your flated behaviors because it is in your blood. Psychic determinism, saying that your behaviors are due to your upbringing, raised this way. Environment determinism, the things around you are responsible for your situation. They make me behave this way. Proactive people recognize that these determinisms, but are aware that they can choose their behaviors in response to each situation. Be responsible. Between stimulus and response, Man has the freedom to choose. Viktor Frankl. Take responsibility for your life. Focus on what you can change in your circle of influence. Use proactive language, I can / I will, not reactive language, I can't, I have to. Proactively is exercising your freedom to choose self-awareness, and interdependence will between stimulus and response.
Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. By considering how others would define you, you can better understand your own definition of success. When we consider the end, we begin to understand the difference between being efficient and being effective. When we are aware of what is important to us, it'll be reflected in our behaviors and attitudes. Stephen Covey says all things are created twice. The first creation is mental. It is the idea, while the second creation is physical. It is making the idea a reality. Mission statements help to guide us and keep us focused. They make us consider important questions such as, what do you want to be and where are you now? Mission statements used in interpersonal relationships can help keep goals clear and everyone on track. We can seek to be a part of organizations that have principles that align with our own. Your center will be the source of your security, guidance, wisdom, and power. Your center is composed of interdependent parts: security, guidance, wisdom, and power. When all parts are balanced, you become, quote, a beautifully integrated individual. The different types of centers are spouse, family, money, work, possession, pleasure, friend, enemy, church, self-centered, principle-centered. Recreation therapists can help clients understand their principles and values using mission statements. They can coordinate recreational activities that correspond with those principles. As for personal application, when knowing one's modus operandi, one can better align decisions with what's important, cultivating a sense of integrity and becoming a more effective leader. Habit 3, put first things first. This is the power to act with integrity to your proactive first creation. There are 4 generations of time management. Generation 1 uses notes and checklists, and demands are placed on time and energy without having priority. Generation 2 uses calendars, appointment books, and schedules events in the future to create the illusion of more responsibility and control. Generation 3, time management users, prioritize activities based on values, goals, and planning. Generation 4 are the challengers of time management, who do not manage time by the minute, but manage themselves, focused on preserving relationships and accomplishing results. 4th generation time management is principle-centered and conscious-directed. It defines a unique mission and it identifies roles by using weekly organizations. They can provide greater context. Effective management is the ability to prioritize and put first things first, as well as the discipline to carry tasks out in this order. Effective people are opportunity-minded. Key to effective management is stewardship delegation, which focuses on results, not the methods. It shows trust and empowers people. The time management matrix has 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, important and urgent. Quadrant 2, important, non-urgent. Quadrant 3, not important, but urgent. Quadrant 4, not urgent, not important. To become a better self-manager, you need to focus on coherence, balance, Quadrant 2 focus, people, flexibility, and portability. Organizing involves the following 4 key principles: identifying roles, selecting goals, scheduling it, and adapting daily. As a recreation therapist, when you become better at managing yourself, you become more effective at using time to support your clients. Habit 4, think win-win. This habit differs from the previous 3 habits because it's focused on interpersonal relationships and is based on human interactions. There are 6 paradigms discussed under this habit: win-lose, lose-win, lose-lose, win, win-win, and win-win or no deal. The first paradigm is win-lose, which is the most commonly used paradigm and means that for someone to win, someone else must lose. The second paradigm is lose-win, commonly seen when someone chooses to take the loss to keep the peace or to gain acceptance from others. The third paradigm is lose-lose, which we see from stubborn people who believe that if they don't win, nobody should. The fourth paradigm is win. This is when one party doesn't care what happens to the other party as long as they themselves take the win. The fifth paradigm is win-win, seen when both sides are willing to seek mutual benefit from their interactions. And finally, the sixth and most powerful paradigm, win-win or no deal. This allows for the most freedom in relationship interactions, as both sides seek to reach mutual benefit, but understand that they are not committed to having to reach a deal. Each of these paradigms is effective in different situations, although anything less than win-win is a poor second best that will have profound effects on the future of the relationship. There are 5 dimensions to using win-win successfully. The characteristics dimension, which states an individual capable of win-win must have integrity, maturity, and abundance thinking. The relationships dimension includes qualities seen in win-win relationships, such as trust and respect. The agreements dimension lists 5 elements that contribute to a win-win solution. They are desired results, guidelines, resources, accountability, and consequences. The systems dimensions state that all systems must be operating using win-win, from the training systems to the budget systems. And finally, the process dimension combines all the steps needed to reach win-win agreements. Using a win-win as a recreation therapist would include making mutually beneficial decisions by using empathetic listening with staff and clients. Using win-win in personal relationships results in a higher emotional bank account and a better understanding of building trust and being respectful. Habit 5, seek first to understand and then to be understood. This habit is key to communication and helps build trust and respect by focusing on listening to understand, not to reply. 4 negative listening habits are ignoring, pretending, selective listening, and attentive listening. Ineffective response styles commonly used include evaluation, probing, advising, and interpreting. The empathic listening process operates using 4 steps: mimicking, rephrasing, reflecting, feeling, and a combination of rephrasing and reflection of feeling. Some of the benefits of using empathetic listening is that it helps build trust, it creates better understanding, and it adds to the emotional bank account. Using empathic listening as a recreation therapist is key to finding out what struggles a client has encountered. Using empathic listening in personal relationships is seen when you sincerely listen and respond using empathic listening processes. This lessens miscommunication.
Habit 6, synergize. Synergy is the essence of principle-centered leadership and occurs when we communicate in a win-win situation with empathetic communication, and we then come together to brainstorm creative solutions to problems. We engineer new solutions and come up with ideas that nobody had thought of by creating through synergistic communication. There are 3 levels of communication. Defensive communication, which is a low-trust situation, often using legal clauses or other things that help protect oneself. Respectful communication, which is middle ground where 2 mature people interact, avoiding confrontation and speaking politely with each other. However, there is normally little exchange of empathy. In synergy, we have a high-trust situation where communication is empathetic. People are willing to be vulnerable and open in order for a creative process to occur. When you communicate with synergy, we move away from the idea that we have idea A or idea B, and the best thing to do is to compromise with a mixture of idea A and B. Instead, we try to understand each other and brainstorm new ideas to solve the problem. So in this situation, A plus B may equal D, S, or Z. Synergy is really where creativity happens and is our ability to authentically listen and show love to others by creating new solutions to problems. Stephen Covey notes, the more authentic you become, the more genuine in your expression, particularly regarding personal experiences and even self-doubts. The more people can relate to your expression, and the safer it makes them feel to express themselves. Synergy really requires that we value the mental, emotional, and psychological differences we have. Synergy as a recreation therapist. The goal of a recreation therapist should be to build trust with our clients. And in order to do this, we want to create an environment where synergy can take place. When we have synergy, we are able to get our clients to share with us the information we need to deeply understand what they require as a client and to come up with creative ways that we can serve them in order to help them get the best quality of life. This is a creative process between the client and the therapist. Synergy in personal relationships is our desire to do more than compromise so that we feel heard. It is our commitment to others, to problem solve, and to find solutions that have the greatest possible benefit to everybody. Synergy is the ultimate in creative solutions, understanding, and innovation.
Habit 7, sharpen the saw. In order to excel in each habit of being a highly effective person, we must take the time to care for our greatest resource, ourselves. We must renew ourselves in the 4 dimensions: physical, mental, spiritual, and social emotional. Renewal is the principle and process that empowers us to move upward in a spiral of growth, change, and improvement. Physical renewal. Focus on caring for your body through proper nutrition, sufficient rest, exercise. It's important to maintain physical balance in the body. Work on your endurance, your flexibility, and your strength. Spiritual renewal. Provides leadership in your life is highly related to the habit 2, beginning with the end in mind. Focus on your core, your center, your commitment to your values. You can do these things by listening to good music or reading a good book and exploring nature. Mental renewal. Mental development mostly happens within our school years. Once we stop going, many of us stop using our minds. We don't do any research, we don't read, and a lot of us tend to not use analyzing thought or critical thinking. We tend to replace the time that we previously spent learning on TV or other recreational areas. Reading is one of the best ways to expand your mind. Set a reading goal, for example, read 1 book a month and then shorten that to 1 a week in stages. Social and emotional renewal. Focuses on habits 4, 5, and 6. It's centered around interpersonal leadership, empathetic communication, and creative cooperation. It doesn't take the time that other dimensions do, but it does require exercise. Push yourself. If you haven't reached a level of private victory and the skills of a public victory necessary for the 3 habits mentioned earlier, it will not come naturally in your interactions. Scripting others. We're part of a social mirror. We are affected by how people see and treat us. We can affirm the proactive nature of others by treating them as responsible people. We help script others as principle-centered, value-based, and independent and worthwhile individuals. Balance and renewal. All dimensions must be worked on in the self-renewal process. Neglecting any area impacts all others. In organizational terms, the physical aspect is the economic terms. Mental or physiological is the recognition, development, and use of talents. Social is the human relations, and spiritual is finding meaning through purpose or contribution. Synergy and renewal. The things you sharpen the saw with in any dimension have a positive impact on the others because of the high interaction. The 7 habits of highly effective people creates optimal synergy. Renewal in any dimension increases your ability to live at least 1 habit. The daily private victory is a minimum of an hour a day to renew any of the dimensions and is a key to development and a foundation for the daily public victory. Renewal as a recreational therapist. Practicing renewal as a recreation therapist helps us to offer our best selves when we support our clients. Understanding how we feel when we take the time to renew ourselves will assist us in helping clients to find activities that they find renews them. Becoming highly effective. Following the 7 habits of highly effective people requires time, dedication, and openness to self-growth. Implementing each habit will help you to keep you focused on true leadership skills and to put people before processes. When we communicate from a vulnerable place with a group of people who are committed to create win-win solutions, we have the opportunity to innovate and lead others to solutions stronger than we can imagine alone.